Is that presentation showing up for everyone there? Perfect.
Showing up perfectly, absolutely.
Hello, everyone. My name is Rowan. I'm the Communications Officer here at Fulbright, and I'm joined here by Sonia McGuinness. She is the Senior Awards Manager at Fulbright, and Liam Brown, who I believe is the LIT VP of Research Development and Innovation. So thank you for joining us here today. I'm going to go through a presentation kind of talking about all the nitty-gritty of the Fulbright Awards application process. See this here. Okay, so just by way of a bit of background, so the Fulbright Awards program was set up by William Fulbright, and as you can see from the year it was set up in 1946, it was to kind of exchange academically and culturally around the world just after kind of World War II. So the idea was to kind of bring the world together through this academic and cultural exchange, because if you're all working together, you're less likely to fight with each other, essentially. And Ireland joined the Fulbright program in 1957, and the Irish Commission was set up in 91. And in total now, there's 180 countries involved in the program. Okay, oops, sorry. And Fulbright opportunities. So who's it for? So it's for students, it's for scholars, artists, teachers, and professionals from all disciplines to research, study, and lecture in the USA. That's kind of elevator pitch for Fulbright. Okay, and so what do the awards provide? So you're looking at a monetary grant, you look after your visa administration, your accident and emergency insurance, and it's cultural and professional programming, and ongoing support. Like, so we have, say the Fulbright Alumni Association. So there's a huge network of people from all around the world, not just Ireland and the USA, but there's Fulbrighters from all around the world going to the US, and ones from the US going all over the world. So there's a huge network of people. We have the Fulbrighter app, we have the Alumni Association, and people who have done or been engaged with Fulbright would tell you that it does open doors. And especially, so you can, as I said, you can join the Alumni Association, and people who've been engaged with Fulbright tend to help each other out. Okay, so as I've talked about, you know, you're joining global peers here. It's a lifelong, if you want it to be, it can be lifelong. Today we're joined by, today it's an amalgamation of AIT and LIT. So for AIT, your Fulbright Campus Ambassador. He couldn't be here today, so he sends his apologies, but that's Luke Geaver. And what Luke does, he's kind of your central contact point for all things Fulbright in AIT. So if you want to reach out to Luke, his email is there. And I should have said at the outset, I'm going to be sending on these slides and a link to the video a little bit later, just after this, so you can get all these details. So yeah, Luke is your go-to person. And then for LIT, we have Darren Naughton, who also was unavailable to join us today, unfortunately. So he sends his regrets about that, but he is available at all times to answer any questions. I'll go through some more details about the application process later. So if you're having any sort of issues, or you're not sure where to go, things like that, Darren will be able to open some of these doors for you and give you some advice. Okay, so eligibility. So the Irish Awards are open to Irish and EU citizens, and you must have 3 years plus of residency. You must demonstrate a strong rationale, so for where you're going in the US. So this is very important to have a strong rationale. So things that would work out well in your application is, you know, if I need to go to X university because there's an expert in my field that works there, or let's say from like maybe a science point of view, you need to use a particular machine that's only available in this university and this place. So they're very strong rationales to go there. Or, you know, maybe it's something more cultural, that maybe you're, I don't know, a hurler, and you want to bring hurling into this university, you know, maybe from sports, music, you know, some kind of social affairs, things like that. And so I'll talk a bit more about, so it's not just an academic program, it's a cultural exchange program, and I can't stress that enough. So you must comply with the 2-year home rule visa requirement. So this is for after you would have finished your Fulbright. You must spend 2 years subsequent to that in Ireland. Currently, I think you can spend it in the EU, but we can't guarantee that that is going to be continued in the future. So if your idea was to do a Fulbright, to go to the US and then start a new life in the US immediately, that is not the 2-year home rule. You need to consider that strongly. So even if you married someone over there and you have kids and everything, that's, it's something to consider. And you cannot be a dual US Irish citizen. So if you hold a US passport, I'm afraid you're not eligible to engage in the Fulbright program. And you can't be living in the US at the time of the application, which kind of makes sense. You can't already be living over there. And, it's a cultural exchange program as well as an academic one. So if you're already living and breathing as an American over there, then it doesn't make sense. And you can't have recent extensive experience. So we had someone in a previous webinar where, they lived over there for about 2 years when they were under the age of 5. That's fine. If you can't remember when you were living there, or you don't remember your time there, that's perfectly fine. It's just if you have recent extensive, if you had spent a couple of years there in the last, 2 or 3 years, then, that's not, that would change your eligibility. Okay. So the application process. So the only thing it's going to take you is a bit of time, but, it's a good exercise. So one thing I did notice is that, from previous webinars, is that some people apply for the awards one year that they may not get it the first time around, and a lot of times they will reapply. They've learned a lot from it. They've really nailed down what they want to do, and then the second time around they're much more confident and they get the award. So the only thing it's going to take is a bit of time, but it's a valuable experience, even just going through the application. Okay, and so to talk a bit more about timelines for the application. So they open up in August. So that's when the applications open. And so keep an eye on our website, keep an eye on social media. You will see a lot around August. We'll have a big push about all the various different awards that we have. But don't just wait till August. If you've joined us today, take some steps in the next couple of weeks to kind of mull over what your ideas are, where you might go. Last minute applications, we don't recommend that. There are a couple of steps that you're going to have to go through. And so in October, they close. And then in November to December, so Sonia, who's joined us here today, and her colleague Paula will be matching your applications with experts in your field. So this is not just experts in Ireland, but experts internationally. And they will engage with previous Fulbrighters. These people will not know you, but they will be experts, and they'll be looking at what you propose. They'll be looking slightly at the cultural stuff and the engagement, but this will be very much your research proposal. And I'll talk a bit more about the breakdown of, and the reviews and the interviews and what they're looking for in that. And then the interviews are from January to February, so another busy time for Sonia. And then offers are made in March. Okay. So if you're planning to engage with the Fulbright, review the information on the website. We can't stress that enough. It's all there, we hope. And choose an awards. There's lots of different awards, and I'm going to go through them later, so I'm not going to labor the point at the moment. Find a course and plan a research proposal. So if you want to have the idea crystallized in your head, you have a bit of time now, and maybe talk to your campus ambassadors, or you can reach out to us and we'll help you. We can match you with someone that maybe has done something similar in the past, and they could give you some advice on, what would work for a Fulbright, what you need to do, and just plan out your research proposal, research what it means to be a Fulbrighter. And I'll go into more detail on this a little bit later, and then register your interest on Fulbright.ie. So even before you do that, plan it all out. And then when the application's open in August, you register your interest, and we'll send you the application form there. Okay, so we'll just go into some of the nitty gritty about the various different awards that we have. So the Irish Student Awards, this is managed by Sonia's colleague Paula, and this is for postgraduate research and postgraduate degree programs. Okay, so a lot of people would be maybe doing a part of their PhD in the US. So they might be doing part of their work in the US with that. And then the Irish Scholar Awards, that's managed by Sonia, and this is for academics and professionals and doing research or lecturing. And so I think it's 5 years professional experience or a PhD already attained to apply for the Irish Scholar Awards, and then the Irish Tech Impact Awards. So I'll go into more detail on this later, but it's academic research, professional research, and both they're with an ICT focus. And then we have the Irish FLTA Awards, which is the Foreign Language Teaching Assistantship Award. So this is teaching Irish in the US. And that is managed by our colleague Paula. And then the Fulbright Schumann Awards is just study, research, or lecture. So this is more high-level EU, US engagement, and that's managed by our colleagues over in the Belgian Fulbright Association. Okay, so the All Discipline Awards. So this is kind of the overarching, one of the main awards that people apply for. And this is for visiting researchers, degree-seeking students, and they must establish an affiliation or apply for a degree course with a US institution. So as I said, your campus ambassadors will help you. So you'll be able to maybe identify a place that is appropriate. So let's say you want to go to maybe Arizona State University because there's a lecturer there that could really help you with your research or with your proposal. And these are for 4 to 12 months, and the max award is €30,000. You could also talk to your own lecturers, and they'll help you pinpoint maybe where you want to go. So this is a tax-free, but this is the max. I can stress that this is the max award, not so don't apply to the All Disciplines and think everyone gets €30,000. It doesn't work like that. So let's say you're going to maybe New York, where the cost of living is a little bit more than maybe North Dakota. Then it will be tiered in that way. Okay, and the Scholar Awards. So this is for postdoctoral professionals in all disciplines. So you must possess a PhD or 5 years relevant professional experience. And this is to research or lecture in the USA. You must also have an affiliation with that US institution. And these can be for a slightly shorter period. So this is from 3 to 12 months, and it's a slightly increased max award of €35,000. And just to say, just as we're going on, if you have any questions, do feel free to pop them into the chat, and we will try to get to them at the end. So the Tech Impact Awards, these are for scholars and professionals in any discipline, but it's using ICT, so you must possess a PhD or 3 to 5 years relevant professional experience. And preference is given to early career researchers, so PhDs conferred since 2019. And this is for non-commercial research exploring transformative power of ICT. So this is for a much shorter period. So this is from 2 weeks to 3 months, and the max award is €11,000. Okay. And again, so the Foreign Language Teaching Assistantship. So this is managed by our colleague Paula, and this is to teach Irish and take classes at a designated US college. You can see what's included there. You must have a bachelor's degree at least, and a little bit of teaching experience, and obviously fluency in Irish, which I unfortunately don't have. Awards will be matched with the US institution after award offers. So let's say there are certain institutions that require different criteria, or they're looking for someone with Munster Irish, or they're looking for X, Y, and Z. So you will be kind of matched with the institution. And this is for a max of 10-month duration. So a lot of people will go on 10 months teaching Irish, and then the last 2 months, so you have another 2 months at the end of that, and they go traveling around. And it seems to be a very nice program, especially if you're teaching Irish. So talking about the sponsored awards, now these are not to be overlooked. So sponsored awards can be in targeted areas such as creativity, environment, and cybersecurity. They may have more specific criteria, and there's lots of information about these on the website, exactly what the criteria are. But you must fill out the sponsored award form on the Fulbright application. So if you do apply for one of these kind of more specialized areas, you are also considered for the all disciplines as well. So don't overlook these. And oftentimes, it's a bit of swings and roundabouts with how many people apply for each one, but you may find that it makes more sense for your proposal to go through these sponsored awards. Okay, and talking about the sponsored awards exactly. So the Fulbright Enterprise Ireland Awards in Innovation and Business. So we have the EPA Award, which is a water, climate change, and sustainable environment. and the GSI Award in Geoscience. And this is for students and scholars, these three. So for the student-only awards, we've got the Creative Ireland Museum Fellowships, and there's 3 of these, and we'll talk about them a little bit later. The LLM Awards in Law, and there's 3 fee waiver options there. The Teagasc Award, Agriculture, Forestry, and Food. And we have the HRB Health Impact Award for health professionals. There's the NUI Scholar one, that's for NUI graduates. And then so these are Scholar Awards, and the Creative Ireland Fellowship is for professionals, the Tech Impact Award for short-term research, and then the Cybersecurity Award at Boston College. Again, I'm just going to give you very high-level information on those, but there's a lot more detail on the website. So your application requirements. So we're looking for general personal information on your CV, and then we're looking for a personal statement or a Fulbright statement. And this is not to be confused with your project statement. There's very separate things. So your project statement is going to be your research proposal. That's the academic proposal on your project. But we really want to find out who you are. So you are not your project, you are not your CV. We want to find out about you. What are your skills? What are your kind of leadership qualities? What are you going to bring to the institution? What are you going to bring home? What are you going to bring to your field afterwards? What are you going to learn? Who are you going to engage with? What makes you you? And that can be tough. I thought about it this morning. I was like, it's tough to talk about yourself, but we want to get to know you, and so that's the impression you need to make on your personal statement. Okay, and you need to get 3 recommenders. So the earlier the better with this. Everyone's busy. So if it would be good to reach out to people and ask them if they would be willing to give you a recommendation for a Fulbright application. You need transcript if you're doing a student application, passport copy, and a sample of your work if you're for artists. So 3 hard copies. And then obviously the letter of affiliation for researchers and scholars. Okay, so the earlier the better with all of these things. Okay, preparing for your application. Okay, study and research objectives. Why is your work groundbreaking? So think about that. And then, as I touched on before, the rationale for going to the US. Everyone, a lot of people might be like, oh, I'd love to go to California. I'd love to go to New York. So don't start with the, I'd love to go to this place. Start with my research or my proposal. I need to go here because this. And if it is in Las Vegas or California, that's a benefit, that might be nice too. But we also take into consideration diversity of places. Not everyone can go to Harvard and Yale. So we do want people going to different universities all across the US. So that is taken into consideration. Identify specific areas that you'll concentrate on, explain the research question with objectives, methodology, and expected results, and what impact will this have on the discipline, research, and your career. So it's not all about your own personal career, so you want to be able to expand on that. It's not, I want to use Fulbright to get X job at the end of the day. So yeah, again, on your personal statement, I've gone into this quite a bit, but what are your motivations for doing this? It's all about talking about you. Don't rehash your study objectives or your CV. And remember, it's an indication of your written communication skills as well. And so, read some of the profiles of people on the website. We talk about all the various different things. So, and also if you're talking to the campus ambassadors, they'll rarely tell you all about their research. They'll tell you about their experience. So it is a cultural exchange program, and I can't hammer home that enough. And we are looking for candidates from underrepresented communities, areas of research, home organizations, and HEIs, geographical areas, ethnicities, and ability. So Fulbright is all about the people. So I sat in on the interviews this year, and I was expecting it to be extremely academic, picking apart their project and all of this. They barely talked about the project. It was all about the people and getting to know them and figuring out, are you a good fit for Fulbright? Are you going to be an advocate for Fulbright? So we want people from a diversity of backgrounds as well. And, it was refreshing to see that in the interview, that a lot of the questions were about pulling back the curtain and getting to know the person rather than the research proposal. They all had strong research proposals, or they all had good proposals, but it was about getting to know the person. Okay, research experts in your field. So finding a host. So this, I think, in my head, I'd be like, oh God, it's hard to know where to go. So reach out to a Fulbright alum. Is my best piece of advice here. There's loads of them. We can put you in contact with them. Talk to your lecturers and look at different, and think outside the box with the universities. As I mentioned earlier, not everyone can go to all the Ivy League ones, but we no one's ever gone to North or South Dakota. So maybe that would be somewhere interesting for you to go. Use existing Fulbright links, ask your mentors. Yeah, and it must make sense to you first. You know, you need to be able to describe your own motivations beforehand and have it crystallized in your head why exactly you need to go somewhere. Okay, so I'll talk briefly about the Fulbright Creative Ireland Museum Fellowships. So these are in the Harry Ransom Centre, the Exploratorium, and the Smithsonian. And each of these has specific eligibility criteria. And again, revert to the website. There are flyers there with all the various details. And you must seek a letter of support from the host and include this in your Fulbright application. So these institutions are huge and there's huge scope within them to do various different things. So do have a look at their various websites and the flyers on our website. Okay, so the LLM Associate Awards. So we have 3 guaranteed institutions that do a full and partial tuition waivers. So this is the Maher School of Law in Indiana, Notre Dame, and Penn. So, you know, traditionally LLMs can be quite expensive. So on occasion, people can attain a Fulbright and then they'll approach the institution and they may be offered a fee waiver, but these are the only 3 that we can guarantee that. So if you're doing law, this is an interesting one for you. And again, we have the other associate awards, which is the Florida Poly STEM Graduate Assistantship. So this is for master's degree and graduate assistantships in STEM programs, includes direct payment for services as teaching and or research assistant and tuition support. And then there's the University of Southern California MSc or PhD programs, MSc in an engineering or computer science discipline, partial tuition waivers for MSc programs, engineering, computer science, PhD programs in a broad range of disciplines, full financial support. So there's more details about that on our website. So yeah, so this is going back to something I mentioned earlier. So the review process is done by so experts in your field that don't know you. So you're not going to be reviewed by someone from LIT or AIT if you're applying from there. So they're going to look at your project statement, your academic records, and that's a large part of the review process. And you know, everyone's got really strong applications, and they're going to look to some extent at the cultural engagement and leadership. But then when you get into the interview, these 2 things flip. So they're really trying to get to know you. So, you know, obviously be able to defend your academic, your project statement, but be prepared for the, you know, what makes you a Fulbrighter, you know, what makes you an engaging person? Are you a leader? What are you going to bring to your research? Okay. And I'll touch briefly again on the Schumann Awards. So this is co-funded by the EU. And as I said, this is for kind of high level EU, US, projects. Contact us if you are applying for this award. It is administered by the Belgian Fulbright Association, but do contact us and we can give you advice. And one thing to note from this, you can only apply for 1 Fulbright award per year. So don't, you know, applying for a Schumann and an all discipline and a sponsored award and, you know, all of, you know, that's not the approach. So you can only apply for one per year. But do contact us. We can give you advice, and we do need to know if you're applying for this one. Okay, and then bringing US colleagues to Ireland. So there's the US Student Awards. So these are postgraduate research degree programs, US scholars, and we have the US specialists. So I believe I think we talk about them a little bit more later. I'll leave that just for now. There's the Global Scholar Awards, and then again, the Schumann as well. Okay. Yeah, so the specialists. So there's 5 per year to Ireland. So for these specialists, so let's say as a university, or as an institution, you identified that you wanted to bring in someone who's a specialist in a specific area. So this is for a short amount of time, but you apply to us to get that expert over. For I think it's 2 to 6 weeks, and it opens from June to September. So you know, if let's say there was some course that or there was some research you were doing within the institution, and it would be really valuable to have a specialist from somewhere in the US to come over for a short amount of time for this project, then that might be something that is interesting to you. And there's more information about that on the website. And again, yeah, so we so our partner request, so from October to let's say December annually, we reach out to HEI contacts to renew and set up new US awards. So do contact us if that is something that is of interest. And I think that is coming to the end of it. So just next step. So things to do when you leave here today is to reach out to your recommenders. So if any of this has kind of piqued your interest, and hopefully it has, and have a read through our website and kind of look through the various different awards. We are looking for, you know, a broad range of people. So even if you're like, oh, I don't think Fulbright's for me, my discipline's this, and I think they do that, it's not. It's genuinely across the board. It's all disciplines. So don't self-select yourself out of the process. So reach out to your recommenders, select your host institutions, research the Fulbright ethos, and hopefully there's enough information on our website about that. And there's some videos as well. There's a couple of videos that were done in the last couple of years talking to Fulbrighters and giving an insight into them as people and their research, but it's very much about the people. And then follow us on social media. You can read all my tweets. And if you have any queries after that, reach out to awards at Fulbright, or yeah, on our website as well. And like Sonia and I and the campus ambassadors we're accessible, we're friendly. Feel free to reach out to us. So we will get back to you, and I think we're quite approachable, I hope. So if you have any questions, do feel free to pop them into chat there. And then I might just introduce Liam. So Liam is LIT's VP of Research, Development and Innovation. I think he's going to say a few words, and then we'll go into a Q&A. So if you have questions, pop them in now. Now's the time.
Rowan, thank you. And when you say a few words, really all I wanted to do was to thank you and thank Sonia for being here today. As I said earlier, I think that the prestigious program is very much, the Fulbright program is very prestigious, and I think it's an opportunity for those in LIT, AIT to go after that award. We have had successes across both institutes, and hopefully soon to be one institute in the future in the past. And you did mention Dara Nocton, but another Fulbright ambassador in LIT is in the Department of Applied Science. It's Jaswinder Kaur. So I put Jaswinder's details up in the chat if people want to contact Jaswinder. Dara is actually out currently, but Jaswinder is our current key Fulbright ambassador. And of course, in the GROW Graduate Studies Research Office, we'd be happy to help with any of the administrative side, and of course referring them on to yourselves, because you and your team we find you great in terms of dealing with any queries that people may have. So again, all I want to say is thanks very much, Rowan, to you and Sonia, and I'll stay here. I see some questions coming in the chat, and I'll let you get back to those if that's okay.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just gonna say there's a question in the chat just about recommenders. Recommenders are referees, they're the same thing. And what exactly do we need from them? The recommenders, just to say, as Rowan said, it's important to get them on board now. So, but they have to submit their recommendations online, like your application. But the expectation is that they know you personally and also your research area. So what you're planning to do in the US, they need to have an understanding of that. But they also should know you from a personal perspective as well. So kind of two sides to it. So as Rowan said, you know, it's probably academics in your field that you're working on, or maybe tutors or lecturers if you're applying to do a master's program in the US. So that would be the general kind of recommendations we get in. So recommenders, referees, they're exactly the same thing. It's interchangeable, the word for us. So apologies for any confusion.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, and as I said, you know, we want applications from you guys, so like it's great to see so many people on the attendees list today, and thank you so much for coming. But you know, don't just leave it here after this webinar. Make sure to have a look on the website, think about your proposals, reach out to your recommenders, and get an application in. Go through the process. So thank you so much for coming along, Liam. Thank you to all the attendees. I will be sending the presentation out just after this, and I'll send a link to the video so you can watch back as well. Yeah, and thank you, Sonia.
Thank you.